Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. Just having a look, the markets had a strong pullback today, down 2.24%. We do feel it's a little bit of an overreaction and a little bit of a Wall Street. I think one analyst put it as a Wall Street tantrum, which I think is a perfect way to describe it. And Wall Street does have their tantrums when they hear interest rates might go up, and they had one at the beginning of the year, which was in January, and you can see that this area here where I had that fall. Then I had one around in June, and that's having another little one now. I'm not sort of totally convinced they will put up interest rates, and if they do, to be honest, it's only 0.25%. So I don't think it's going to affect the market. And contrary, as interest rates start going up, generally what the market shows you in history, that's actually very, very bullish for the stock market, and the stock market normally goes up. So, we believe here at Equity Story, these sort of pullbacks at the moment in this sort of climate are ideal opportunities to get into some really good 3-year growth stories, and to get into some really good trending stocks nearer sort of longer term moving averages. Our trending stocks, generally speaking, did very well today in a tough market, and I'll go through those in a second. But certainly we don't think it's panic. And if you look at the Dow, for example, you can see the Dow. This is a long-term chart on the Dow, still looking pretty bullish, and might come down to that sort of 1,800, but really holding that swing high pretty well. So, the Dow, the S&P 500, certainly for me, sort of holding sort of longer-term trend lines really well. And I think it's important, obviously, we don't whatever you do when you're trading in this sort of environment, you don't over panic. Like I said, to the contrary, and I'll go for that at the moment. We'll go for our 3-year growth stories, and we'll look at what stocks we can buy and what look good value at the moment. Just having a quick look actually how the trading stocks fared today. Obviously, BAP, which you would expect it to hold up really well, and as you can see, it's holding up pretty nicely on that sort of long-term, short-term moving average. It looks fine, and bounced back. I think 595 and bounced back over $6. So I've got no issues there. ORE, we put this on at 404. We brought it on a long-term trend, and again, it looks absolutely fine, holding up 387. I mean, it could go down as far as low as it did before, but we feel that this is definitely going up. The fundamentals are good. We feel even for a difficult climate, it's going to hold that long-term trend, and I think ORE is great buying. FPH hardly moved today. This is why we have been warning you for last month that we did feel the market is going to be get a little bit tougher, and to be careful. And a little bit why we have gone in, I think, to some of the strongest trends we got on the moment, like FPH and GHC. One stage that was up today, but again, holding up incredibly well on a tough day. SIP, I think we put this on at 138. It's now 136. It's hardly moved, but again, fantastic looking chart. As soon as the market gets going again, we feel this will do well. And again, part of the reason we try, CBA should hold that $70 level. We feel it is range trading, and half the reason, although they weren't the greatest trends, we put CBA on Westpac, is that we did feel the market is volatile, and FXL, although we got a dividend on CBA and FXL. Again, what we feel is these companies are giving big dividends, over 6.5% fully franked, and we felt if it does get really, really rocky, obviously the dividends are going to hold up the price really well, or give the share price support. One stock that does sort of concern me slightly is Vocus, but we've actually, I spent some time today, and I won't do it now, but I squashed this up, did a lot of really interesting sort of trend analysis on it and support analysis, and I do think this is on support. What I would like to do, if I can see this turn up, like I said the other day, is we'll get another buy on it, because certainly I think this is been a little bit overcooked, and like I said, Vocus is one of these great growth stories on the ASX at the moment. So just saying, obviously we did have some good news today. We had some really good report came out on Moi. It's great to see Moi up sort of 8.82%. So that's great for Equity Story to have a stock today in this climate up 8.82% is extraordinary. And Moi is one of our infamous 10 baggers, which we've already obviously made a lot of money on. I think about sort of 200% already. And Wangle up 9%. So obviously Wangle had a fantastic announcement today, and I think it's not going to be long before they're going to be able to start monetizing this great little Wangle app, which is obviously we're pretty passionate about here at Equity Story. And we also had in our 3-year growth story Elders up 5.1%. This was the best gain in the ASX 300, and obviously not surprisingly it's in our portfolio, which is great and good. They had a pretty strong announcement, and I think hopefully this could kickstart. You can see it's been trading sideways, but hopefully this could kickstart the Elders story a little bit and get some momentum going. Just having a look, with the 3-year growth stories, and what I'm going to do is just go through some of the main ones and see if we can see any potential buying opportunities. Firstly, looking at GTK, it is holding pretty well a short-term moving average, and we are pretty strongly in this stock. I wouldn't, I would state the buy price around this, around sort of 280. I wouldn't want to chase it. I still think it is looking very, very bullish, GTK, and if it came back to $3, you could maybe add a little bit, but maybe around that sort of 280 level, I think would be certainly better buying. Again, QMS really finding sort of pretty strong support around that long-term moving average, and again with great support. I think buying around this sort of 116, 120 level is absolutely fine. Again, Catapult, put this on at 2. We put it on again at 250. It's now 337. Looking at the chart, I think Catapult might come back a little bit. So maybe not $3, but maybe 310, 315. You could get some. So I think if you can buy Catapult around that 310, 315, excellent buying. Adasol, was one of my favorite stocks. I think around 2.7. Even at this price, it's good. If you buy a bit now, I think it's going to have support around 250. Maybe the lowest I could see the stock being is maybe 250, 255. But certainly you could buy a little bit now and buy a little bit later. I've got no issues with that at all. BWX, again, just coming back, holding that support. So buying around here, absolutely excellent, no issues at all. PWH in the green today, I think it's looking very good. So definitely I've got no issues with you getting into stock around these sort of levels. Rural Funds again, what a great story Rural Funds is. It's giving a fantastic dividend. I think of over 6%. It's growing its earnings. It's a growing company, and I think around this level, certainly 160 is excellent buying. Appen, I think if you're in it, fantastic. Hold. I don't know if it's holding that short-term sort of moving average really well. I don't think I'd be buying it just yet. I'd like to see the market sort of recover a little bit. Potentially this could come back and retest at least 317. If it came back a little bit stronger on a longer-term moving average, it could test a lower mark. But again, it's hard to see it coming really much below $3 just because the earnings growth of the company is just so extraordinarily good. NVL obviously starting to trend up. You can see it a little bit better on that short-term chart, starting to trend up really well. Come back today and touch that sort of shorter-term happy line, we like to call it, and bounce back off it really nicely. I think again, similar to possibly Adasol, I think I could buy a little bit here, and if it came down, I'd buy a little bit more. Certainly around that 160 level, I think NVL would be great buying if you could get some stock around there. Again, BKL, we think it's fantastic buying around this level, and it's interesting today. Such a weak day, this stock has held up really, really well. We've spoken about Elders. Obviously had a great day today, and I think buying around this this level is great buying. XIP again, yeah, we're pretty passionate around this sort of 340. It'd be fantastic buying. This is one of the few stocks in the ASX in our 3-year growth stories that has gone down since we put it on, but again, fantastic story and had a great earnings report as well. Over the wire, you got to be a little bit careful with this one. This is lightly traded. I don't think I'd be buying it up at here these prices. I think I'd have to see this one come down closer to that sort of might come down to that swing high about 270. I think for me I'd be a little bit more relaxed buying stock around that sort of level. Again, Yowie, I think around this level, most probably this 60 cents is pretty good support, so I wouldn't have any issues buying a stock around here. Northern Star, again, you know, we do trend this stock a lot. Haven't put it as a trend. I just want to see what happens with the gold price. But again, you know, for a 3-year growth story, we're big believers in gold over the next 3 years. So just got no issues with you buying it on this. It's hit smack bang on this long-term moving average. You know, historically that's always been a time to buy. And I was sort of looking today, do we trend this? Do we trend this? Well, Equity Story, we like it. We really do like to see them start trending up and get a better signal on the MACD. But I think as a 3-year growth story, you're going to hold this for a while. I think this is good buying at these levels. As I think A2 Milk definitely seems to have that support around 160. So any buying between this 185 and 160, yeah, definitely. I've got no issues there whatsoever. Corporate Travel, you know, we put this one at $6. It's now $17.60. I think it's run a little bit hard, and it is bullish, but I think definitely, I've said this before, around $16 would certainly be a better buying level for me for Corporate Travel. And Mobile Embrace, one of these amazing stories on the ASX. Just the earnings reports of this company are just incredible time after time, and it just really does hug this long-term moving average. But you know, I think buying around this sort of 30 cents, 31 levels for me is excellent buying. As with Main Pharma, just looking at this chart pattern, I do think, you know, you can buy this. I wouldn't pay 190 now. I think you can buy it about 180. If the market came off even more, you could get a little bit cheaper, but certainly around 180 I think would be pretty fair buying. And if it fell a little bit further, well, maybe you could add a little bit more. I just think it's important to say, just before we go tonight, that you know, these markets can have these big moves. It's not to panic. It's, you know, it's a great opportunity to add stories and add stocks and you know, buy great companies, obviously, you know, with great growth potential and giving dividends, like some of the companies that I've been pointing out tonight. And again, for us on the trending, you know, we've got great stories like TWE. Just watching this one today, see how far she can come back before we get back into this fantastic story. And you know, some of the famous ones like the Ramsay Healthcare and the TPM. So we're just sitting here waiting, and I think we'll be able to get in some good new trends. And I think, generally speaking, the trending stocks are doing very, very well in a pretty tough environment. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for listening to Equity Story, and I apologize for going on a little bit too long tonight. And I look forward to bringing you this report tomorrow night. Good night.